I'm truly honoured and humbled to have been invited here today to speak about my journey through sport. My story, it's not one of world-conquering success, but of course one of overcoming adversity. It's a story where, for many reasons, I should not have succeeded, but through resilience and sheer determination, I did. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Taryn Gollshewsky, and I am a discus thrower. So I spin around in a circle 1.5 times, and I throw a 1 kilogram dinner plate as far as I can. My personal best is 60.62 metres. Now, that's the length of 15 cars, or the width of a soccer field. Or, if I were to stand here on stage and throw one right now, it would land on the street. My athletics journey began when at 8 years of age, I joined Bundaberg Little Athletics Club. At the age of 10, I made my first wide bay team. At the age of 12, I won my first Queensland State Championships. It was also at this age that I found my coach, Les Kierakowski, here in Bundaberg. After working with Les for just a year, at the age of 13, I was the best discus thrower in Australia for my age. Like many athletes, I have some turning points in my career. The first happened when I was 15 years old. My mum and I were in Brisbane for the State Athletics Championships, and driving into the stadium, my mum offered me a deal. If I broke the Queensland record of 44 metres, she would buy me a new phone. Now, the weather was miserable. It was raining, so the discus was going to be slippery in my hand, and the wet surface of the concrete circle, a workplace health and safety officer's nightmare. But I agreed. Game on, Mum. I threw 46 metres, broke the Queensland record, and got my new phone. Now, the new phone was not the turning point in my career, maybe my social life, but my career turning point came a few months later. Like any proud parent, my mum likes to keep track of my success. One day, she jumped online to try and find the results from the Queensland Athletics Championships so that we could print out the results sheet and keep a copy. It's not every day you can say that you are a Queensland record holder. Whilst Googling my name, my mum actually came across a list of athletes. She looked closer, and it was a list of athletes who had qualified to represent Australia at the IAAF World Youth Athletics Championships to be held in Italy the following year. And there was my name, Taryn Gollshewsky, discus throw, 46.54 metres. Turns out my record-breaking throw had qualified me to represent Australia, and we didn't even know. We found out via Google. This was a turning point in my career because we realised that by living in Bundaberg, I was sheltered from the elite athletics world. We had no idea what World Youths were. We had no idea how to qualify to compete there. And we certainly had no idea that athletes my age across the country had been aiming for World Youths for years. We realised that there were no athletes in Bundaberg before me showing me the path to the world stage. We realised that we were going to have to figure all of this out by ourselves. Another turning point in my career happened at 17. I just graduated from Kepnock State High School, and I had to figure out where to next. I was offered about a dozen scholarships to colleges in America, including Stanford and UCLA, and I was even offered a position at the Australian Institute of Sport. But my coach, Les, was here in Bundaberg, and together we'd already achieved so much. Working with Les, I was an 8-time national champion as a junior, as well as a 2-time junior representative for Australia. I sought some advice on what I should do, and this is what I was told. If you want to really make it as an elite athlete, if you want to go from representing Australia as a junior to representing Australia as a senior, then Taryn, you have to move away from Bundaberg. It's not possible. You can't make it from a regional town. Everything is possible. At 17, I made the decision to stay in Bundaberg. I chose to continue to train at the local YMCA gym over an Institute of Sport. I chose my local teenage training partners over joining a squad of fellow elite athletes. I chose the ocean over a state-of-the-art recovery centre. This decision cost me many things. If you ask some, I was not willing to make sacrifices for my career, and therefore I would never make it as an elite athlete. Sacrifices. That was the word that they used. I hate that word. To me, it was a choice. I chose to stay in Bundaberg with my friends, family, and my coach. I chose to continue to trust the people around me. A few years later, the biggest turning point of my career happened. At 21, I was selected to represent Australia at the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland. Now, Australia had the intention of sending a large team so young athletes such as myself could have the experience of a Commonwealth Games prior to our own home Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast 4 years later. I had scraped into this Australian team by the skin of my teeth, and I was overjoyed to just be there. My excitement, however, quickly turned to feelings of inadequacy. Upon arriving in the athletes' village, I was surrounded by athletes who had all the things I didn't. Clothing sponsors, massage therapists, physiotherapists, psychologists, nutritionists, you name it, they had it. They were fully funded, full-time professional athletes. And then there was me, a small-town country girl whose major sponsor was Bank of Mum. Had they been right to say that I couldn't make it from Bundaberg? I was about to compete in front of a crowd of 60,000 people. Now that's almost the population of this town. Could my amateur training environment here in Bundaberg really prepare me for that? Could I do it? Doubt circled my mind, but not for long. I was on late in the program at the Commonwealth Games, and so whilst the Games had started, I was days away from competing, and I still had training sessions to complete. This was a bit of a problem because training facilities were difficult to come by. A great friend of mine, Ant, was coaching Sally Pearson over in Glasgow. Yep, Sally Pearson, world, Commonwealth and Olympic champion in the 100-metre hurdles. Ant told me that he had located a track for he and Sally to train at, and he invited me along. I agreed. I could not believe what was happening. Here I was, feeling like a complete amateur in the presence of sporting royalty, just Sally, Ant, and myself at a track. After completing our training sessions, Sally and I were standing there having a chat. I was in awe. This woman has accomplished everything that I want to, and here she is treating me like her equal, her teammate. Mid-sentence, Sally smiled at someone who was approaching us. Someone else was at our track. Whoever this person was, they were not supposed to be here. Who was this rude intruder? I turned around and walking towards me was Usain Bolt. Reflecting on that moment and my experience at the Commonwealth Games, this was a turning point in my career. I was told it wasn't possible to make it whilst living in a regional town. When I made the decision to stay here, most people in the athletics community gave up on me. They thought I had thrown my career away. But standing beside Sally Pearson and Usain Bolt, I realised that I had kind of made it. Here I was, representing Australia on the other side of the world at the Commonwealth Games, surrounded by some of the best athletes we have. When it came to competition day, I honestly went out with the intention of just having fun and trying not to embarrass myself. In the qualifying round, on my second throw, I threw a massive personal best, automatically qualifying for the final. I was officially a Commonwealth Games finalist. The small-town country girl had done it. At 17, I was told it was not possible to be an elite athlete and to live in Bundaberg. Yet here I am now at 26. I'm a two-time Commonwealth Games representative and a two-time Commonwealth Games finalist. I'm a World Championship representative, a World University Games bronze medalist, and I'm an athlete who's been earmarked to represent Australia next year at the Olympic Games. I am also a CQU alumni, so I have 2 university degrees to my name. I proudly juggle my teaching career with my training workload. My 4:30 a.m. alarm each day isn't easy, but it's worth it. I'm proof that anything is possible. You just have to surround yourself with people who believe in you, and that's exactly what I have done. If I could offer any advice to the people of the room, it would be this. People will doubt you. People will say you aren't good enough. Some people might even say it's not possible, but never believe them, because the only person who determines your future is you. Thank you.